Hello, this is Nick from Breaker Press Games, and it is time for another Breaker Press Games update. This one for September 21st, 2021. As you all know, or you probably know, we just completed the Protectorate of Jenulane Kickstarter, and it was successful. The next steps of what we are going to be doing, I broke down in a really detailed post on the Kickstarter itself. So if you back that Kickstarter, you'll probably want to look at that update just to see the timeline of different things that are taking place. But the important thing for this update is just that we are going into a period of layout and design. Essentially, the process that's going to take place now is laying out the book, figuring out where art needs to be placed, and then commissioning that art. So at the tail end of the Kickstarter, Jamie Jordan submitted this wonderful piece of art for the Wood Guardian, which is one of the adversaries that can show up in the Protectorate of Jenulane along the path of the Valorous. And he also completed this portrait of Chaplain Derman. The nice thing about portraits is I already know when I am designing a book how the format of the pages that the NPCs are going to have. And so we have a routine with the portraits. So he's already been working on art. He's currently working on art for Candace Keykeeper. As I said, the big thing now is starting to lay out the book. We're going to start with the tower portion, which is the first half of the book. And the reason why we're going to start with the first half of the book is because it is the first half of the book, but also because I would like to do some more tweaking with the actual Path of the Valorous. It's been run around 20 times, and it has been very fun and exciting to play. One of the things that when you have something that has a lot of variables, though, you will run into circumstances that have not come up. And it was very fun and exciting. As part of the Kickstarter, I did offer up to people the opportunity to play the adventure, and a gentleman from Spain took me up on the offer, and we played a session, a 2-hour session. And it was a fantastic time, but it was additionally exciting for me because options that had not come up before came up. And so I got to see some new elements at play. And it reminded me that even though I have run it 20 times, or between Alex and I, we've run it 20 times, you can never have too much playtesting. And so I'd like to, given the opportunity, put out to all of you that if any of you watching this video would like to play test the Protectorate of Jenulane, I'd like you to reach out. I will happily run a 2-hour session of the Protectorate of Jenulane for any one of you. It is a one-on-one adventure. And so all you have to do is ask, and I will set the time aside, and we will make it happen. Additionally, if there's anybody out there that would like to run the Protectorate of Jenulane or the Path of the Valorous portion of the adventure, I would love to have feedback from others. It has been run by myself and by Alex, but Alex had gone through the adventure first, and so already had kind of an idea of what was going to take place. And I feel like that made prep possibly easier for him. And so put it out there. If you would like to run the Path of the Valorous portion of the Protectorate of Jenulane for someone in your gaming group, I would love to be able to have the feedback that you're going to pull off of that. So putting that out there. Open call. Just respond in the comments or send me a direct message. I'd love to hear from you. So the only other outstanding product is the Standard Courier Volume 1, which we ran a Kickstarter for in June. I've been working steadily on the layout and design of the zine. And I'm hoping that I will be ready to send it to editing at the end of next week. which will put us in position to get through editing in the beginning of October and then go to print in mid-October. And then begin shipping at the end of the month. That is the plan. And I've been working steadily along on it, and I've been really excited. I keep tweaking and looking at how the different NPCs and the rumors and elements, how they can be more gameable. And that's been a lot of my focus, is not just creating engaging NPCs, but also making sure that content is content that you're going to be able to use in the game. One of the other things that I ran into is that Stennard is a small town, and I started thinking more about how not just the people are interconnected, but how they're related, because it occurred to me, kind of late into the summer, that a lot of the NPCs I kind of had created as being, single, widow or widower or what have you, and without kids. And it occurred to me that it would make the town more lived in, but also if there was a web of interconnection where people are related. And that was something that occurred to me kind of late in the game. I don't know if other people think in those terms, but it is something that occurred to me, and so I started to think about ways that that's going to be woven in to make it even more lived in. And also that, when you wrong somebody or accidentally kill an NPC, there is somebody that is going to want to avenge them, because I think that's kind of an important element of a lot of fantasy RPGs. So, with that being said, one of the things that I worked on simultaneously with the Standard Courier Volume 1 is I was working on something called Hillwood Camp. And that was something that I released as a PDF, a short PDF, on Patreon. And really, it kind of captivated me, because Hillwood Camp is a logging camp that is to the northwest of Stennard. And it interacts a lot with Stennard. And I had drawn a map and, wrote, I think it was 8 pages of text that went along with the map, or 7 pages of text that went along with the map. And really, the interconnectedness between the two really stood out for me. And I want to do something with Hillwood Camp. Beyond, it just being something that sits on Patreon. And my original plan was to use it as a zine for one of several zines that I am probably going to do for Zine Quest 4. And I was thinking that I was going to, instead of doing 2 separate zine Kickstarters like I did last year, or this year technically, for Zine Quest 3, I was just going to do a bundle of zines, similar to what James Posnell Jr. and Don Stroud did. Yes, I think it was those two. And give people the option to pick and choose the ones that they want. But rather than go that route initially, since Hillwood Camp as a zine is almost done, because I was designing it in conjunction with Standard Courier Volume 1, I kind of want to try one. I want to start doing quarterly physical things that I send to my Patreon backers, at least the ones that pledge at $5 and above. And so I think that I am going to complete Hillwood Camp and send it out to my Patreon backers, but then make it available, because I know that when I talked to Goodman Games, they were excited about the Patreon, but they also, if you make something physical, we want to have copies of it too. And so I think what I'm going to try is something that I have not done yet, which is to try and release a zine that's not released as part of a Kickstarter. And so I will send it out to Patreon backers first, then put it on DriveThruRPG and make it available through DriveThruRPG, and put it on our web store and see what kind of action it gets. And if it doesn't get a lot of action, that's okay. It's not a big deal. But then I can just make it available as an additional add-on when I send out the Standard Courier Volume 1 backer survey. And so I've got a couple of different options of ways to, add this, new zine and make it available to all of you, but see about making it available in a way that isn't another Kickstarter, because I feel like I'm going back to the well a lot. And I don't like feeling that way. I want to make sure that we have a good back and forth between myself and all of you. So, what else? Oh yeah, Empire Cyclops Con. Yay! So, Empire Cyclops Con is coming up November 5th through 7th. It is Goodman Games' 4th Cyclops Con. I believe it's the 4th. I have participated in all of them, and I think they are absolutely wonderful. Goodman Games runs fantastic events. I will be running at least 3 events. I submitted 3 so far. I'm going to be running the Precipice of Corruption. I'm also going to be running a playtest session of the Cleft in the Mangled Hills, which was something that also was released, a work in progress, was released on the Patreon. And I've run it 3 times now, and I'm still tweaking and figuring out the magic combination of things. And so after this last session that I just ran, I ran it 2 weeks ago, and I'm looking forward to running it again at Empire Cyclops Con. So those are a lot of cool things that are coming up. Finally, though, one thing that I want to talk about is reprints. So, we just went through the kind of lengthy ordeal of a second printing of Rabid Dogs. But I do think that adding that additional content made the zine better. One of the things that with all of the people that added on copies of Precipice of Corruption and Wide-Eyed Terror to both Standard Courier Volume 1 and now to the Protectorate of Jenulane, I am going to run out of copies of the first printing of both of those things. And so I am going to, in October, look at those particular adventures. One's a zine, one's a full-size adventure, and see if there's anything that needs tweaking. I know I have feelings. Wide-Eyed Terror is pretty solid as is, and I think runs really well. But after running, even though I've run the Precipice of Corruption 20 times, maybe it's that I've gotten into a routine with it. There's a couple of things that I'm like, it'd be kind of better if I tweak this, or it would be kind of better if I tweak that. Or there were actually a couple of encounter descriptions that were left off. So I'm like, do I want to tweak it or do I not want to tweak it? These are questions that I have to answer over the next few weeks while I plot the reprinting of the Precipice of Corruption. I know that my cohorts will probably be in the camp of just leave it alone, but I also like doing additional stuff, so we'll see what happens. Maybe it might just be a little pamphlet that comes with it or something. I don't know. We'll see. So reprints, though, are something that absolutely is going to happen in the month of October, and so a second printing of Wide-Eyed Terror and the Precipice of Corruption are definitely going to have to happen. So that is what is going on with Breaker Press Games as of September 21st, 2021. Thank you all for the continuous support. We couldn't do what we do without you. Thank you for taking the time to watch this video, and as always, thank you for supporting indie games and indie game designers. This is Nick from Breaker Press Games, signing off. Have a wonderful night. Bye.